What's happening, Bills Mafia? Ryan Thomas here, back again for another episode of the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. I'm joined by a good buddy of the show, gentleman I've wanted to have on the show for quite some time. I'm happy to get him on, not just on any day, but on draft day. First round starts tonight. My buddy Jordan Miller joining me. Jordan, how's it going, buddy?
It's going good, man. It's a pleasure to be on the show. And I guess, like you said, it's been a while since I've been wanting to join you, so I'm really pumped. Draft day is probably one of my favorite days of the year, and here we are, man. The anxiety's flowing.
The anxiety, the anticipation, of course. Your eyes, of course, are on that 30th pick, as are mine, with our beloved Buffalo Bills. We'll get to them, throughout this show. This is the Buffalo Bills Draft Day Primer. Anyone that's tuning into this show will get a good grasp at what players could potentially be available at 30th overall for the Buffalo Bills. If, in fact, they do decide to stay there, they could trade down, they could trade up. That's right. What makes the draft so exciting. So, Jordan, I got to drop a bomb to start this show.
Drop it.
I don't know if you saw this, but Tim Tebow is working out as a tight end with the Jacksonville Jaguars tight ends coach. What are your thoughts on that to start the show? I didn't anticipate this at all.
Yeah, I was actually going to bring that up. I just saw that maybe 10 minutes before we started here. The thing showed up on my phone there. I mean, they talked about it, when he was playing, but he didn't really, I guess he didn't show the interest at the time to be able to switch positions. But I think it's awesome, man. I mean, who doesn't love Tim Tebow? And especially down there in Jacksonville, around Florida where he came from. I think, he's 33 years old. He might have some stuff in the tank. He's been out of the NFL a little bit. So, I mean, I'm all about it, man. I hope it works out for him.
I'm hoping that we start to see him shift kind of athletically, because let's face it, the guy is an athletic specimen. He transitioned, I should say, from the pros in the NFL to minor league baseball. That's not an easy transition at all, right? So to maybe shift back to tight end, there could be something there.
Yeah, man.
Anything's possible.
Maybe we got a Pro Bowl season coming out of him. Who knows?
he still feels like he's got something to prove and something left in the tank. I'm all for it. I'd love to see Trevor Lawrence throw some bombs to Tim Tebow. That'd be pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, maybe hand it off to him, a little fullback, little everything with him. I think a little jackknife out of the backfield. Who knows?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
We got that storyline kind of covered. That was one that just caught my attention. I had to start the show off with that. With the people that are tuning in right now, we'll have a lot more people tuning in as this gets shared on Facebook and stuff, as well as YouTube. Thanks for the support, everybody that's tuning in. Really appreciate it. First round, man, Jordan, I'm nervous. I know your anxiety's high, but correct me if I'm wrong. Do you feel as anxious for this one as you normally do, being that the Buffalo Bills don't really necessarily have like a massive need on this team and they're picking in the 30s? It's almost like we kind of have a sense of ease heading into this draft based on how good they are.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we're not stuck at 16 needing something that might be up at 3 or, in the top 10, something like that. Being at 30, I know, with a sense of ease, you would think that, but just, being a Bills fan and, we still got a few guys that we want to have, and there's definitely still some players that we want to have there, even though we're 30.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's, a big sense of ease there, kind of like, whoever drops in our hands, best player available. I don't know if we trade up to get one of the top corners. I don't know if we trade back if they all fall away. I don't know if there's a secret guy that maybe Bean's thinking about, but I mean, I trust the process, not to sound, typical there, but I think staying at 30. I mean, I think we'll be all right. I think there'll be a guy that we get, whether we trade up, trade down, stay there. That's going to come in and play right away. So I'm comfortable with it.
If you're sitting in the general manager's chair, and let's just say Jordan Miller is the general manager of the Buffalo Bills, based on what you saw from the 2020 team and how the season ended, how do you what position would you be targeting? You mentioned corner, but what positions? There's always like a laundry list, right? Maybe 3-5 positions. What are some positions that you're kind of targeting heading into this draft?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's a couple corners there, but I don't see him coming past 20 range. Mm-hmm. Just to throw some names out there, obviously you got your Surtain, you got Farley, few other guys that definitely I like Newsome. I like Greg Newsome. Asante Samuel Jr. I can see him slipping there. But I think the guy that I like the most that not too many people are talking about out of Georgia, Eric Stokes.
Yes.
6'1", 185, and he actually ran a 4.29 in the 40. So just to kind of go off of a corner, I think that's the guy that I wouldn't mind taking him at 30 if that's a reach. I'm not sure, but I mean, and not to draft or take guys, off of free agency to build just to beat the Chiefs. And a lot of people say, well, we got to be able to beat the Chiefs. You got to be able to get this guy to be able to cover Travis Kelce. We got to beat a lot of teams, not just the Chiefs. But I mean, that's definitely a guy that can help. But other than corner, edge, a sexy pick would be running back. I like Travis Etienne. I like Harris, Javonte Williams. But I don't know. I mean, other than that, corner, edge, running back, even receiver, you know what I mean? Emmanuel Sanders is 34. Beasley's 33. We might not see them next year. So I know we got Gabe. I know we got Gabe Davis. I know we got Isaiah off the injury. So wouldn't be bad to kind of start looking for youthful movement at receiver too. So.
Right. Yeah. And you can't have too many receivers in today's NFL. And that's a Twitter beef that I've kind of had with a few Twitter users out there. Like, hey, Cole Beasley is getting up there.
Yeah.
Emmanuel Sanders is up there. Gabe Davis, great receiver in his rookie season with Buffalo, but we don't really know what Isaiah Hodgins has got. So really only have Diggs and Gabe Davis. Who's to say that in the middle rounds, the Bills don't investigate that position? I think that's highly likely, to be honest with you. Maybe not in the first, but maybe in the second or third round.
Yeah, I mean, I would certainly wouldn't be disappointed if we find a guy in the first round, second round. I mean, like you said, we saw Beasley kind of get that fractured leg there at the end of last season. He's got a lot of miles just off the last year alone. I mean, I love the guy, you know what I mean? But and I think he's under contract for the next 2 years, but who knows what happens for that second year, you know what I mean? Like I said, bring in another guy. Get him at least get him ready. You know what I mean? So
And in this draft too, like we've got a lot of. You mentioned Travis Etienne, and I know Marcel Lewis-Jacks of ESPN. He's got Buffalo taking Travis Etienne. He hasn't touched the dial on that at all. He said that Travis Etienne is the player for the Bills. Yeah. You got you got a few highly informed reporters, Benjamin Albright saying that, that the Buffalo Bills will take Etienne or Najee Harris. What is your take on, if we come away from this first round tonight with the Buffalo Bills taking a running back, will you be happy about that, or will you be kind of indifferent?
No, I think a lot of people might be like a little upset about it. I mean, but as a Bills fan, I hear the argument a lot. Like, we just don't. Our backs are really good. We just don't have the run blocking to let the guys run. But I don't really believe in that. I'm not really buying into that much. I like Zach Moss. I like Singletary. Matt Breida, if healthy, he can be a home run hitter. But I think that's more of a without any contact. If we give him the perfect hole and perfect lane, then he can get 30, 40, 50 yards and take it to the house. But if we get a Harris or Etienne, that's a sexy pick for me, man, all day. That's a guy I think you put him in day one and he's probably starting right away, either or of those guys. And I like Javonte Williams too from North Carolina.
Yeah, both North Carolina running backs are actually pretty solid, which is pretty crazy that two running backs out of the same school, Michael Carter and Williams, they're both really good. And I think the guy that you're representing, our quarterback, our favorite quarterback, that's my quarterback, Josh Allen. He took a lot of hits last year too, being that we were so pass happy and pass heavy. If we did have that running back that was that quote unquote home run hitter like an Etienne or a Najee Harris, I feel like it would take some of the pressure off of Josh Allen too. That's my biggest proponent of taking a running back, right?
Oh, absolutely. And, like you said, you get a guy back there that people have to think about and, hold accountable. You're not just, just playing, 80% of the pass game like we've seen in the last season. You're also like, oh, maybe they could run it to Etienne. Maybe we got to cover him coming out of the backfield. We don't really have that element right now. So, with the passing game that we saw last season, if you add a guy like Etienne or Harris or, one of these top guys, that's just more weapons you got to worry about. So I kind of like the fact I would love that, to add that guy as a piece of the puzzle to the team. So I'd be all about it, man.
I think that would definitely get the fantasy football people talking. I know you're a fantasy football guy. Yeah. If they had Travis Etienne in that backfield, I think Western New York fantasy football drafts would have his ADP in like the third or fourth round. Let's be honest. He would be picked so high in comparison to all the other fantasy drafts, just based on the fact that he would be a Buffalo Bill. I would be excited. I can't say I wouldn't be excited, but to what you talked about earlier, the corners in this draft, there are some really good corners in this draft, and I think you could definitely get a difference maker. People are saying, who can we get that's a difference maker at 30? Well, Etienne, obviously Najee Harris, corner, Farley, Newsome. If those guys are there, it's really – could you imagine a scenario which could happen where all those guys are available? Who do you take if you're Brandon Beane?
Out of what three?
Out of, let's just say Newsome, Etienne. We'll say these four: Newsome, Samuel, Etienne, and Harris. 2 corners and 2 running backs.
I would probably go with the corner, Ryan. I'm not. Yeah. I mean, I love Newsome. I love Greg Newsome, man. He's got the length. He's got the height, the speed. Just thinking about him opposite of Trey White. With there's depth at running back. I mean, if we really are targeting our running back, we can get a guy maybe in the second round if that's really what we're looking at. But I think there's depth at both those positions. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I wouldn't even mind if we went back to back corners. Like I mentioned before, that Eric Stokes out of Georgia. That's my favorite corner. Him and Greg Newsome. Obviously, Newsome's my favorite, but Stokes ran that 4.29, 6'1", 185. I mean, I would just love to have that guy in there. You know what I mean? Why not add him with give me Newsome and Stokes. You know what I mean? You can't have enough corners, can't have enough receivers, and you certainly can't hate to upgrade at running back. So.
And now these teams are forced to look at this draft even more financially than they did before. Whereas you take a first round corner, you got him for 5 years with that 5th year option, where we paid a boatload of money to Trey White. You'd have Trey White, rightfully so, on a big contract, and then that second corner on a rookie contract, which would be very cap friendly. If you had 2 corners on a cap friendly deal with Trey White, that would make things even more interesting. But a guy that I really like, Jordan, is Trayvon Moehrig, safety.
Yeah.
That dude can play. And I'm thinking putting him with Jordan Poyer and Hyde, kind of learning under those guys. What are your thoughts on kind of preparing for the future of Hyde and Poyer not being on this team maybe in this draft?
Man, I think about it, I from time to time, I wish they would last forever. We haven't had a safety like that in a long time. I know Hyde's getting a little bit up there. Poyer's still pretty young. I mean, what are they, 30 and 32 or something like that? I don't know.
30 and 30. Yeah, 30, 31, I think, somewhere in that range.
So, I mean, Moehrig, man, that guy is a baller. I would not be upset to take that guy. I don't see him lasting till 30, but if he was there and we took him, I'm all about it. Like, I mean, it brings you back to the point that you made in the beginning, the sense of, kind of ease and just relaxation being at 30. There's not really a glaring need that we have. So any one of these guys that we take, we plug them in and it's going to help the team. So, I mean, I don't think I'll be upset at whoever we take at 30, honestly, trusting Beane and what he's done. He hadn't upset me yet. So.
Yeah, you go back, you look at some of the draft picks that Buffalo's had in the Brandon Beane, McDermott era. Zay Jones, that wasn't really a good one, but Zay, outside of Zay Jones and 5th round quarterback Nathan Peterman, I'm not really fretting over that. It's a 5th round quarterback, but if I'm being a stickler, I guess I could say that one didn't work out too well either. But 3 years ago, they drafted Josh Allen, our boy Josh Allen, and Tremaine Edmonds.
Yes.
What do you say the chances are that they could maybe come away with 2 first-round pick players in this draft? There's like rumors circulating that they might trade up and then trade back into the first round if they like a guy.
Man, I'd be all about that too. You know what I mean? I don't think we need. I mean, forgive me here, but I'm not sure exactly how many draft picks we have currently. I don't think we need all of them. I don't think there's really that much room on the roster to have them all right now. So why not use some of that capital to move back up into the first round and take a couple of guys that you can plug in right away. Like say a Newsome falls, and then maybe Etienne's still available. Why not add both those guys to the squad? You know what I mean? And I'm also hearing, not to get off the subject, but there's been, swirls, and just I think this is more of a fan thing of a trade back and acquiring Zach Ertz.
Right.
Heard about that too. I wouldn't mind that, but I don't think we need to do that. But yeah, I would love to, stay at 30 and come right back in and get another guy that, that can come in, maybe an edge like a Gregory Rousseau from Miami.
Right.
I know he's pretty raw. I know he opted out, but that's a big dude. That can ball. Right. So I wouldn't mind plugging him on the edge.
You got Gregory Rousseau out of the U. You got Azeez Ojulari out of Georgia.
Yes.
And you got as well, I think the two best defensive players in this draft, in my humble opinion, are Micah Parsons of Penn State, and I like Jason Owy, defensive end out of Penn State as well, or Owy. I always mispronounce his name. But those two guys, they balled out for Penn State. Penn State's known to make really good defensive products heading into the NFL. But, man, Micah Parsons, to me, is a top 10 pick in any other draft. Maybe with how the top 10 could shake out with some of these quarterbacks, which I definitely want your take on. We're kind of out of reach with one of those guys. But my guy, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah out of the University of Notre Dame, pair him with Tremaine Edmonds and Matt Milano.
Yeah, I know you like the Notre Dame guys, man.
Would be a lot better. I'm telling you, that defense would be fun. So prioritize, though, like, how much do we need to make this defense better in comparison to the offense, like percentage-wise?
Oh, man, percentage-wise, like I said, it's almost even for me. I know that with the pass rush was kind of poor last year, and that was one of the biggest things, probably the most talked about, our weak pass rush.
For sure.
A lot of people are saying, well, Starr's back, it's going to be back to normal. We don't know that. We don't know what happened with Starr. He took a year off, Harrison Phillips, a year removed after his injury, after a full year of health, with him back, maybe Epinesa kind of gets back to shape and back to form and plays his true position. Maybe he's got something that we haven't seen. But the guy you mentioned, Ojulari, man, that guy, if somehow I don't see him last, I love that guy, man.
But is that a guy that's a guy that you got to go up, maybe move, maybe 5-6 picks to get, right?
Yeah. That's not too much. But then you say it's not too much, but then you see what like the 49ers gave away to move up a few spots there, and what people are giving. They're just throwing first round picks away for the next 3 years like it's nothing. So
right.
Yeah, I would love to have the guy like that. But man, I would say, like I said, either or. You add that upgrade dimension at running back, all for it. You add the upgrade at corner, all about it. You know what I'm saying? So either way, I'm excited. I think it's almost a 50-50, but I think we will see an improved defensive line. How much improved, I'm not sure.
Now, that's really, I'd say that's the biggest talking point for Bills fans is that, my frustration last year is, hey, we invested a second-round pick in A.J. Epinesa. We invested a first-round pick in Ed Oliver. Yeah. And they didn't really show a lot. This is like, it's either add more talent to the defensive line with the hope that Ed Oliver and Epinesa are better, or, leave it alone and hope that they're better. Either way, they got to be better than what they were last year.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Like I said, maybe some people were saying Ed Oliver was playing out of his position. Either way, the hype that guy had when we brought him in, he should be blowing us away by now. At least in my opinion. Regardless, maybe with Starr coming back, I don't mean to keep saying that. I don't think it's going to be like this magical thing that happens with him returning. But we definitely need to upgrade at that with the pass rush and the defensive line to stop the run a little bit better. We did get a little bit better throughout the season, though, against the run. But as far as pressure on the quarterback, we definitely got to find some kind of help there, whether it's with the guys we have now or adding a piece to the puzzle there.
Something really, really big just came across my desk, as I like to say. You ready for this one?
Hit me with it.
This is big. So, breaking news in the world of the National Football League, per Adam Schefter, Aaron Rodgers has told members within the Packers organization that he does not want to return to the Packers in 2021.
That just happened?
That just happened.
I know the 49ers were making a huge push to try to trade for him, but the Packers were saying there's a 0% chance that happens. Can you imagine him going there if you go back to the Alex Smith Rodgers draft, that's where he was supposed to go. Well, he thought so anyways. He's from California.
That's big news.
There. Wow.
Right.
He's not returning this year is what he said.
They're saying that he does not want to return to the team in 2021. And from my perspective, what does that exactly mean? We hear that all the time. My perspective is he going to make this like an ugly exit, much like Brett Favre did? Is it going to be contentious? I know he wasn't happy that they drafted Jordan Love and they didn't get skill position players. And this means to me, maybe they're not looking to get skill position players in this year's draft. And he's just kind of done with it. I mean,
wow, man. Yeah.
That's crazy.
my take on something like that, just to briefly say, with like the Deshaun Watson situation, when he immediately started saying, I want out, I would have traded him for as much draft picks as I could have got. I would trade him away. You know what I mean? He doesn't want to be there. Your team's a mess. You got all new staff. I mean, get as much as you can for that guy and rebuild. I mean, now look at the situation where they got down there in Houston. It's a mess. So, I mean, not to say that every time a guy's disgruntled on your team, let him go and have his way. In this situation, if I'm Green Bay, like you said, you got Jordan Love for a reason. I mean, and if you can get that third pick there, maybe you can get your quarterback if you're not sold on Jordan Love, or, if Rodgers wants to move on and he's not going to play, maybe right now is the time to do it, pull that trigger. So, but I mean, who knows if that just happened? Who knows what's going on now with that organization, man? That's pretty close to the draft to be doing that.
This is when all these crazy things start to happen, though, is draft time, because this is really the first time that all these teams have the opportunity to make trades with one another, whether it's for picks or for a player. And what's crazy is I get like these little alerts, last time this happened. Yep. The only most valuable players that have won the award the previous season to be traded or to not return to their team were Norm Van Brocklin in 1960.
A little while ago.
Yeah, and Jim Brown, who retired after winning the MVP in 1965. So 55 years we're talking that a previous MVP award winner didn't return to his team the following year, whether he retired or whether he was traded. Man, if Aaron Rodgers gets traded tonight, that would be huge news.
Now you got me. Now my head's all kinds of spinning around, man. That would be awesome. I mean,
it would
for
be
fans, maybe not for Packers fans, but who knows? Maybe as a Packers fan, Rodgers is getting a little elderly up there. Right. Maybe if you can get a pick if you can get the 49ers pick and you can get a guy there, maybe that wouldn't really. Maybe they kind of ease the pain a little bit from a Rodgers exit. I don't know.
Man,
I'm excited though.
He goes to San Fran, who probably should have taken him. I know it might be a little bit too soon to say that, given that Alex Smith is, Alex Smith now, and he's looked at as, the hero that he is. But it probably should have taken Aaron Rodgers with that first overall pick.
Yeah, going back to the time. I mean, I remember that draft, and I'm like, well, Alex Smith could be better. He looks good, But who knows? You know what I mean?
You don't know. You never know.
You don't.
Yeah, you don't know.
Look at the Mayfield, Allen, Rosen, Jackson. Look at that draft. I mean, look what happened there. I mean, you just never really know. I mean, it depends on which team and which coach, what staff, what you got around you. So, if you went to the Niners, man,
that would be something else.
There'd be some happy Niners fans, that's for sure.
When you said Niners, I thought they moved up to 3 to get their own guy. Now is the third overall pick too rich of a price for Rodgers? I think it might be. I don't know. I don't know what to think.
I don't know, man.
Because you're trading that third overall pick to a team that's going to get a younger quarterback. Rodgers is great. Don't get me wrong. I love Aaron Rodgers, but he's 36. So it's 37, 36, 30. So it's like taking the win now approach over, a Mac Jones or Justin Fields or whoever they think is there. That's a big decision. It's a big decision.
Do you stay there, and are you happier with a Trey Lance or, like you said, a Mac Jones, Fields? I mean, or are you not sold? Maybe they're not. I mean, we're just predicting and guessing that it's the Niners right now that he could go to. I mean, this just happened, so we're just kind of playing with it. Right. But I mean, man, I think I would pull that trigger. I mean, not to say that everybody's Tom Brady, but if you're thinking 36, 37, he's pretty young.
He's right. You know what you're getting with Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
That's the thing. And that's probably why I would do it, is if I'm trading the 3rd overall pick, I'm trading it for something that I know what I'm getting.
Right.
And you do know what you're getting out of him. So, wow.
Yeah.
Man, this night just got really interesting.
Yeah. I mean, who knows if they'll pull the trigger that quick after just hearing that, or if this has been going on behind closed doors for a while now, and now it just came out. I don't know.
It says the Packers actually offered to extend his contract, and Aaron Rodgers basically said, "Hell no, no way." Yeah. So I mean, he ain't staying there.
And they were, I think, and when the season ended, they were like negative cap. I know they re-signed Aaron Jones, but I mean, other than that offense really only has Adams, Jones, and then that's about it. You know what I mean? That really sticks out at you. So
you want to talk about a player that it would hurt his fantasy football stock if Aaron Rodgers left? Davante Adams would fall like a rock if he didn't have Aaron Rodgers. I love Davante Adams, but man, Aaron Rodgers is the man.
I know. I mean, depending on
unbelievable.
Depending on who they brought in, I don't know. They probably go with Jordan Love. I mean, they drafted him high enough to start him. If Aaron Rodgers was to leave, I'm sure they would probably go with him, unless they got that 3rd pick and wanted to go with somebody else. But again, we're just playing around here with that.
Right.
So I guess we're gonna have to wait and see. Now I'm really excited to see what happens with that.
The contract that he had contained a $7 million roster bonus in March, so he basically took the roster bonus instead of having it converted into a signing bonus. Okay. And now there's like this hang up with the bonus money, and that's what I'm kind of reading here. But yeah, I saw that. I was like, I don't know if you saw my face, but I was like, what?
Yeah. I'm like, what? What's going on?
That's amazing, man. I never thought there's always a chance that a guy doesn't want to play for the same team his whole career, but seeing Aaron Rodgers in a different jersey, that's just going to be weird. That's weird.
With us fans, and especially the Packers fans, it's almost like, going back to a Brett Favre, like, oh no, and then eventually he ends up after the Jets, he ends up with the Vikings, what I mean? So, I mean, and that was weird seeing him in both those jerseys.
Right.
I mean, so seeing Aaron Rodgers in a different jersey would definitely be weird, but it's definitely exciting. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So Aaron Rodgers talk there for the folks listening and the folks watching. The Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers are reportedly at a stalemate, to the point where Aaron Rodgers does not want to go back to Green Bay. So you touched on I can't believe I'm saying
that. I know. Still resonated with me a little bit.
You touched on Deshaun Watson not wanting to go back to Houston. Mm-hmm. That storyline has kind of died out. It looks like there's zero interest from any team in Watson due to the allegations off the field. That's such a crazy situation. I don't know what to even make of it. But there's also picks around the league, around the NFL, teams and picks to watch in terms of this first round tonight. That's what makes the NFL draft so special. We're not just looking at the Bills, but what team is Jordan Miller looking at saying, we got to watch out for that team? What team is it? Or a team that you're kind of curious to see what they do?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes without saying, being a Bills fan, especially this year, with Miami picking twice ahead of us, the Jets picking twice ahead of us, the Patriots are ahead of us. Mm-hmm. There's always at least a handful of guys that the Bills, you think, as a Bills fan, I want at least one of these guys, mm-hmm. But man, the Dolphins can pick twice, the Jets can pick twice, the Patriots pick once. Like, what if they get all five? You know what I'm saying? And I mean, going back to the Travis Etienne and the Harris situation, I mean, I'm not sure which teams need a running back more than the Jets and Dolphins do. I mean, so, I mean, I think the Patriots are probably going to be targeting a quarterback, so I'm not really worried about them. Either way, I'm not really worried about them. But, man, Miami's doing something nice down there. My personal opinion on Tua, I don't take this personally out there, left-handers, but I just don't really believe in the left-handed quarterback, man. I just don't.
Oh, wow. Throwing shots at the left-handed.
Yeah. Hey, I know there's been success. There's been success. There's been success. but not much.
Really just Steve Young, right? Like at that level, it's really about it. Yeah.
Yeah, Michael Vick,
really
but I mean, he
Vic too. Yeah.
He was kind of more of a runner most his career, but he did, he developed into the passer when he was on the Eagles. You know what I mean? He found his way there. Mark Brunell was solid.
Yeah.
I can't really think of many other guys.
Was Kenny Stabler left-handed?
Ken Stabler, there you go.
That was the one that I was thinking it. I'm like, was he? I think he was. Yeah, he was. Yep.
But I mean, again, that's 4 or 5 guys that I can even think of all times. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just that's just wishful thinking that Tua doesn't work out. But like I said, they're both Jets and Dolphins. I'm excited to see what they're going to do. / really nervous to see what they're going to do. I don't want them to take my guys.
Right.
I feel like every pick before the Bills is my guy. But I guess I'm excited to see what they do. But
yeah, you're intrigued as far as within the AFC East. I think. Yeah. Me too. I can speak for myself in that and say me too. But I'm also going into this draft knowing that the AFC is actually going to get better. Within this draft, Jacksonville getting Trevor Lawrence, that's going to make them better. There's just no doubt.
Right.
What are your thoughts, though? I know, you're looking at mock drafts and stuff, as am I, and we got the Jets at 2, and among Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, Mac Jones, and Trey Lance, it's almost like a foregone conclusion now that the Jets are going to take Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? Do you like it? Do you think that that's a bad move? Where are you at as far as that goes?
I like it as far as if I'm a Jets fan or the Jets organization. I think they've had a pretty big of a mess there with the organization and the way they've been going. I think they're probably on the way up. As far as the coach they brought in, it's a wait and see there. But they brought in some talent. It looks like they're trying to. I guess maybe a lot of teams, especially the Jets, Dolphins, it looks like they're trying to take the mold of the Bills have done the last few years. And they're kind of going in that direction, which kind of scares me a little bit, but not really. I think the Bills are ahead of the game there. Josh is just, that goes without saying. I could talk for 3 years about Josh Allen. I like.
We're going to talk about him. We'll definitely talk about Josh Allen by the end of this show.
I think if it was the year that Darnold came to the Jets, it'd be a different story. I'd be nervous for Zach Wilson, but I think they're going to do a little bit of a better job protecting them. They got a little bit more weapons in there, and again, they got another pick in the first round. Maybe they bring in another weapon in there. Maybe it's an offensive lineman. Maybe it's a running back. They definitely need a running back. Right. Could be another stud receiver they add to the equation. So
could they move up with that second first round pick too?
Yeah.
They might. Yeah.
I like that pick. I like Zach Wilson, man. I think that'll be a good pick for them for sure.
I think it's one of those things. It can't get much worse, right? What they just did was so bad. It can't get much worse. I think Sam Darnold is an okay quarterback. I don't think he's as great as they thought he was, but I also don't think he's as bad as they thought he was.
I agree.
So it's a very tricky situation. And the one thing, rest assured, they got to do it better than they did last time because they didn't serve anybody well.
And I think, like I said, I think they will. I think they're going to do a little bit of a better job. Adam Gase was a joke for me. He's been a joke for a while. I don't know how he ended up being a head coach again after his stint in Miami. The guy was just kind of a wacko to me. Just look at the guy in his interviews. It's just like, is he okay? Everything all right down there?
When he had the eyes crossed at his introductory press conference, I'm like, last I checked, marijuana is not legal yet in New Jersey.
Right. And then
he looked roasted at that press conference.
Yeah, and then the Le'Veon Bell signing, it's like he came out and publicly said, "I don't want him," and then they signed him.
That was.
And then Bell doesn't want to be there. It was just a mess, man. I think they cleaned it up a little bit. How much they cleaned up, I don't know, but I think it's definitely going to be a better situation than it's been as far as close as last year. So,
yeah, I agree. I think it's intriguing because they're basically doing what they did 3 years ago all over again. Will they do it better this time? But it almost. Them going with Gase and Darnold almost set them back 6 years, if you think about it, because the 3 years that they wasted with Gase and Darnold, they just washed their hands of it. Now they're starting a new rebuild that'll take usually 3-4 years for it to get to where it needs to be. And I know they got 2 first-round picks, but that's really about all they got on that team. Just these next two, they got a lot of work to do in terms of the picks that they got. And the same goes for Miami. I know Miami is a lot better defensively than the Jets, but there's so much uncertainty there with lack of, I guess, skill at the skill positions that they have. So if they end up coming away with like a Kyle Pitts in this draft, I will be very, very salty over that.
That's one of the things I'm hoping not to see. If you want to ask me if you want to see the one thing if you want to ask me the one thing I don't want to see is Kyle Pitts going to Miami.
Yeah, that would be bad.
That's not that can't happen. So hopefully Atlanta just knows that they need to take him, and that's what happens. So.
There's always like that one guy in every draft that you're like, is this guy really for real, or are they just propping him up? Victim of the moment. Yeah. I watched Kyle Pitts for like 25 minutes on his highlights and stuff. I'm like, holy smokes, this dude is very, very good.
I haven't seen anything like that in a while out of a tight end. I think it's tough to see a tight end come out of college and be amazing right away. But I would trust. I mean, if you ask me, if the chances of him coming in and being a playmaker, Pro Bowler. One, I could definitely see that happening with him.
Right.
So.
Yeah, you're looking at like overall like best players in the draft. I would say he's right up there. I mean, he's top 3 in terms of overall talent in the draft. So and then Justin Fields. It seems like this is a quarterback that he's proven what he's needed to prove at Ohio State. Played really tough in the championship game. He got hurt and came back and threw passes across his body with broken ribs. And it seems like the media is just not too keen on Justin Fields. It's like his draft stock has fallen. What do you think of that? Do you think that's a little ridiculous or what?
I do. I like Justin Fields, man. I do. I like him a lot. Not to say he's Lamar Jackson, but kind of the same situation when Lamar was coming out of college.
That's true.
The guy can't do that. I'm looking at his numbers. I'm looking at the guy's game film. I'm like, what are they not seeing here? You know what I mean? So I think that guy. I think he's got a huge chip on his shoulder. Definitely great demeanor. I mean, as far as what I've seen, I mean, he's got the skills. I think any team that gets him is definitely going to be happy with it. So. Like I said, Lamar, I mean, he comes in and people were immediately, we were wrong about him, but that happens a lot.
Yeah.
I think
happened with Josh Allen too.
Oh yeah, sure did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did. No. No, but I think,
like damn straight.
He makes me think of Lamar Jackson though, a lot of doubters on him, it's kind of the same types of stuff. I'm not saying he's running as fast or he's a Lamar. Like I said, he's not a Lamar Jackson. He's Justin Fields. But like I said, I think he's going to prove the doubters wrong. I firmly believe in that.
Yeah, and I am very curious to see where he goes because when I first started doing the mock drafts, even after the regular season kind of ended, kind of starting to look at stuff more as far as what teams needed. We kind of knew what the top 10 of the draft looked like, so it was easy to do that. Yeah. And, Justin Fields was a guy that I thought was a lock to be a top 3 pick. And now, it really depends on what San Francisco does. That's like the pick where the draft actually starts. And to me, I mean, Justin Fields would be great for that team, but I've heard they like Mac Jones. I've heard they like Trey Lance. They've narrowed it down to those 2. So if San Francisco goes with Mac Jones or Trey Lance, obviously Justin Fields is in somewhat of a odd situation where you could see the Broncos take him.
Yeah.
Or my worst fear, actually worse than Kyle Pitts going to Miami, would be if the Patriots traded up and got Justin Fields.
Yeah.
And I
knew that's where we were going with that. Yeah.
That could happen, Jordan. I think that's a safe bet. If he does fall out of the top 5, I think Bill Belichick is going to go up and get him.
Oh yeah, and that's definitely something we haven't seen Bill do. Is go up for a quarterback like that. I mean, he hasn't had to in 20 years. So, I mean, that'd be weird. I mean, I'm hearing now, I've heard like 3 times the Niners, I get the notifications. The Niners are favoring Mac Jones. The Niners are favoring Fields. Now the latest one was Trey Lance.
Right.
You know what I mean? And there was a lot of comparisons with Josh Allen, and you saw along with all the other Bills fans have probably seen the Josh Allen speaking to Trey Lance thing about, don't listen to him, prove him wrong, just play your game. So whoever the Patriots want to get at quarterback, let's hope it might not work out.
Well, we know one thing is for sure: no matter who they get, he's not Josh Allen.
Right. So So there you go. Exactly. Perfect point.
Right. They can get Trey Lance, Justin Fields. They can get Trevor Lawrence for Christ's sake, and it wouldn't be Josh Allen. I'll throw that out there. So, what do you think of? I know Trevor Lawrence is a lock. I get why. I mean, I've watched him at Clemson the last 3-4 years. The guy is like the second coming of Peyton Manning. He does have all those abilities. Andrew Luck. He's that type of quarterback. But with how great he was at college, he's going to shift over to Jacksonville. That team is terrible. So what do you think as far as will he see any sort of success right away? I think the cards are stacked against him.
I mean, I agree with you, but again, it depends. I mean, I know they got a lot of picks. They got the most cap space, I think, but I mean, free agency's over with. But still, I mean, they have some solid receivers there. I mean, I'm not sure of the state of the offensive line. I think that.
I got cats too.
The cats are getting excited, man. No.
The cat could play corner for the Bills and swat the ball now.
Yeah, she's ready, man. Hey, she's ready. But no, I mean, I think I could see him. Maybe it might, like when Peyton came in. I mean, he had a little bit of a mess in his first year, but then they kind of, they brought in talent every single year after that. They brought in guys. You know what I mean? Marvin was there. He got to grow with them. They brought Edgerrin in there. Reggie Wayne came along. Dallas Clark came along. You know what I mean? So, I mean, with all the picks and all the space they have, I think they can get pretty good relatively quickly. Maybe not their first season.
Right. They should get good quick. Yeah. But something that I was a little bit miffed by, and I was watching Urban Meyer when he was talking to the media, and he said, they asked him about the first overall pick, and he said, this decision is ownership's decision. And I'm like, is he saying that because he doesn't want to take ownership of the pick if it doesn't go well? You know what I mean? Like, it kind of struck me as odd. If Urban Meyer is going to Jacksonville, he knows that Trevor Lawrence is going to be his quarterback. Like, Jacksonville's taking Trevor Lawrence. There's just the mayor put out a statement saying they were taking him back in February. So, they're taking him. But why, if Urban Meyer's taking that head coaching job, why is he saying, well, this is ownership's pick rather than endorsing, the pick? I thought that was odd.
Maybe being new, from college, being new to the NFL, maybe it's just a respect thing, kind of showing his hand of respect to the owner and the team. But I don't know. That's a good point that you made there. But I mean, that's his pick, man. That's
right.
I mean, I'd be completely 100% comfortable saying that Trevor's my guy.
Right.
I'm bringing him in, So unless there's something going on with ownership where it's like, hey, this is my team, who knows what Shad Khan's thinking. I don't know what's going on there, but yeah. I mean, maybe it could be a new to the NFL respect thing. I think that'd be maybe my guess.
Who in this draft, shifting gears here, who in this draft at receiver really jumps out at you in like that top 10? You got Ja'Marr Chase, Devonta Smith, Jalen Waddle. Who are one of the receivers that kind of jumps out at you in this draft?
Man, I really like Waddle a lot. I'm really nervous that he goes to the Dolphins or the Jets. That goes back to my point before, man. They got some good receivers there. I could see one of them being reunited though with Cincinnati, with Burrow. You know what I mean? With Chase, or, Lamar, or whatever. Or sorry, Jamar. But I mean, I like Bateman. I think.
Out of Minnesota.
Yeah, I like Bateman. He's intriguing to me. Other than that, I think Waddle's probably my favorite. But I like Bateman, man. I think he's going to be a surprise guy. I think he'll be a little bit lower, but I mean, I don't think he'll be there at 30, but maybe the Bears, I could see the Bears maybe taking him or something like that. So, but yeah, I like Bateman, man.
Yeah. There is some, physical ability there with him, of course. Yeah. And then, with, what you were saying earlier about kind of some of these receivers, you got Tua out of Bama and Smith and Waddle who could be reunited with Tua. And then you got Ja'Marr Chase out of LSU, who could obviously be reunited with Joe Burrow, and they were, like Montana and Rice at LSU. I mean, they were a dynamic duo, but for the love of God, Cincinnati. I mean, Joe Burrow was so goddamn good his rookie year. It does not get stated enough. And now he's taking pictures, and he's got this 12-inch scar running up his knee because that offensive line was such garbage. Please take a lineman. Like, get this guy some protection.
Yeah, get that. I don't know how to pronounce it. Penei Sewell.
Penei Sewell, yeah. I'm not even saying they should take one in the first round. Just if they want to get Jamar Chase and every pick after that is an offensive lineman, I think that's a good draft.
Yeah, but they could take Pitts too. That's another team that as long as Miami doesn't get them. So I'm looking at the Falcons and Bengals to take Pitts. I don't think the Bengals will. Just like you said, I think they want to team them back up. But yeah, they got to protect Joe, man. I love Joe. If you're a fan of the NFL, you want to see him healthy,
right?
And that guy, man, he was balling on that team, even though they weren't that good. You could see that he's going to be good. Hopefully, he can come back at full strength.
For sure. Yeah. And I had him in a 2-quarterback league. Man, he was fantastic. I mean, he was fantastic for fantasy reasons. He had 64, attempts, 54 one week, 64 the next week. I'm thinking this is pretty damn good. They're only throwing the ball. It was great.
Yeah.
But man, I want like your final, your short list of players for the Buffalo Bills that you would want, you're ranking maybe like 3 or 4 guys that you would hope the Bills take at 30.
Yeah. At 30, man, that's tough. It's kind of 50,
so many ways they could go about it.
Yeah, it's 50-50 with Newsome and Etienne. I'm going to throw that there. I want the running back. Like I said before, it's a sexy thing to do. Imagine him coming in, obviously it'd just be so exciting. We got the new running back, the feature back. But then you got a big, lengthy guy in Newsome opposite Trey White. It's a passing league now. I mean, you get 2 physical guys on the outside there. And then Eric Stokes, though, man, that is my guy in this draft. I want him. I don't know if it's going to be trading back up. I don't know if it's going to be in the second round where he's going to be at. But yeah, Newsome, I know he's probably not going to fall, but if we're in love with him, if we jump up and get him, that's probably 10 spots we're looking at to jump up. I don't know. There's some depth there at corner, so it depends on which guys go. But I like Newsome. I like Aziz, man, Georgia guy. Oh God,
there's a lot of guys in this draft that are good. It's like every draft, there's a lot of guys in this draft that are very, very good.
But I like Harris too. I like Harris. I like Etienne, Harris, Newsome, Stokes. Man, Zaven Collins. That's a guy we didn't
out of Tulsa.
Yeah,
the guy's good. Yep.
But then you make the argument, well, who plays? I mean, but I know we got Jerry Hughes. I know he's getting he's getting up there.
Right.
So Edmonds, Milano, Collins. I mean, why not have 3 good ones? But
right.
Yeah, so I'd say Etienne and Harris, at running back. If one of them's gone, I'd love to take one or the other. And then corner. I mean, obviously Newsome. I like Asante Samuel Jr. if he's there.
Right.
It's crazy that you got all these cornerbacks whose fathers played in the league. You got Horn, Samuel, Surtain. I mean, it's like, man. So yeah, either one of the two of the 2 corners or 2 of the 2 running backs are my 4 picks.
Just like last year with Antoine Winfield Jr. Obviously his dad was playing here for a few years, and then he went to Minnesota, and now his son's in Tampa Bay with a Super Bowl ring. So it's
Winfield played 30 years, and then his son went to Super Bowl his first season.
Something tells me he got his dad a copy of that ring, or maybe a replica or something. I don't know, but man, Jordan, this was fun. I'm really excited for tonight. I'll be sure to be texting you. Final take. Give me a stat prediction in the 2021 season for the great one, Josh Allen.
A stat prediction?
Like season stats, like how many touchdowns, how many yards, how many interceptions. What are we looking at?
All right, I'm gonna try to get realistic here instead of being full out Bills here. Bills fan. No, but honestly, the way that he took that step forward last year, if he continues to go up, which I expect him to, and I think he will, especially when we add around him and, he's maturing and growing, man, the sky's the limit with this guy.
Yeah.
And if you can add a run element in there, he's going to be even more scary. So I think I can see him at 5,500, man. I could see him at 5,500. Yeah, I'm not just saying. I could see.
I love it.
Why not? Why not? Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
Drew Brees did it, and he can't really move in the pocket, and Drew Brees was doing it.
I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say 5,500, man, and I'm gonna say I want to say 60 touchdowns. No, but let's go with 38 touchdowns. Throwing
38 touchdowns. 38. Okay.
Yeah, not including running. Not including running.
Not including running.
Those are passing touchdowns.
I'm gonna go close to 5,000. We'll go close 4,900, 5,000. We'll just say 5,000.
Okay.
And I'm going over 40 touchdown passes.
Okay.
Probably 44, somewhere in there.
I like that.
And rushing touchdowns, I think is actually going to be toned down a little bit.
Yeah.
I think they're going to tone down him running the ball. That's part of the reason, as I said earlier, why you would take an NTN or a Najee Harris. Let's avoid Allen getting hit as much as he has these last few years, because we want this guy to be here for 20 friggin' years like Tom Brady was in New England.
Right,
so
right.
Let's make that happen if we can. At least try to make that happen.
Yeah.
But man, the sky's the limit. Does Julio Jones get traded tonight?
Whew. There was talks about. I know Stephen A. Smith said that the Bills need to make a run on him. That's an expensive guy.
Very expensive.
Hasn't been very healthy. But I mean, I would love. I think he does get traded. I'm going to say yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to say he does. Yeah. I mean, they got two other guys in Ridley, and the other guy's names bouncing off. I can't remember.
I can't think of his name either.
I had it earlier, but they got two good guys in there, and they, I think it's time to move on from Julio. I really do. So I think we're going to see a Julio trade.
Yeah, I'd love it. I think we're going to see a few trades tonight for guys that you wouldn't expect. Man, maybe Aaron Rodgers. I can't believe I'm saying that, but
make it happen.
That'd be something. As long as he doesn't go to like a team that the Bills have to play. If he stays in the NFC, that'd be nice.
Keep him in the NFC. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Well, Jordan, man, this was a real pleasure. It was awesome having you on the show finally, and I look forward to having you on again soon.
Yes, sir. All right, Ryan, man. Hey, go Bills tonight, all right? Appreciate it.
Go Bills, and let's keep our fingers crossed that Kyle Pitts doesn't go to the Dolphins.
I got my Billy right here, man.
Billy the Buffalo, all day.
Sir. Yes, sir.
I love it, man. You take care. Go Bills.
All right, you too, man.
Take care. So that was Jordan Miller, guest on the show. I wanted him to come on the show for quite some time. I was really happy that I could get him on and have a solid discussion in regards to the Buffalo Bills draft. Big breaking news that the Green Bay Packers could be moving on from Aaron Rodgers sooner rather than later. Rodgers has let the Green Bay Packers know that he no longer wants to be there. So anytime a player lets his team know that he no longer wants to take part as a player within the organization, you start to see those teams make those strides towards getting assets for the player. So it's going to be fun. Josh Rest will be joining me on the show momentarily, hopefully. Not sure we'll be on, but we will be on at some point during the day today. So stay tuned for more episodes of the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. Tomorrow, I'll be recapping round one. And tonight, 7:45, I will be on with the Built in Buffalo brand. Dave Myers, Akeem, all those guys at Built in Buffalo, Charlie Gross as well. I'll be on with them for the Draft Super Show. So stay tuned to that tonight on the Built in Buffalo stuff. And, of course, go Bills. Thanks for tuning in.